What becomes of the hearth when those who once spoke of the fields falling quiet are no longer heard?
At the evening fire, one elder noted that the eastern pasture had grown thin, and the young no longer knew the old way of turning the soil before the rains.
Others at the circle turned their faces away or raised their voices against the words, and the one who had spoken fell silent.
In the days that followed, the same elder rose earlier each morning, yet found fewer hands ready beside the tools.
The next season, the grain stood lower in the rows.
Those who had once walked the boundaries at dawn now stayed longer by their own doorposts, saying little when the council met.
The storehouse, once filled by many, received only what the remaining workers could carry before the light faded.
Children who once learned the turning of the plough by watching many now stood at the edge of the field and saw only the same few backs bent over the same ground.
A question moved through the settlement like wind across dry stalks. Who will know the signs of the land when those who once named them have gone to other hearths? The question was not answered.
Instead, the paths between households grew quieter at dusk.
Those who had once repaired the fences before the first frost now left the work for another day, and another, until the wood lay where it had fallen.
In the workshop, the blades grew dull because fewer voices reminded the young how to keep the edge.
At the riverbank, the baskets stood empty longer each morning.
The elders who remained at the council fire spoke of the harvest that must still be gathered, yet the circle of those who answered grew smaller with each turning of the moon.
The young watched and learned only the habit of waiting for others to move first. Seasons passed.
The boundary stones that once marked shared labor now stood between plots tended by fewer hands.
The burial ground received new stones, yet the stories that should have been carried forward from elder to child were told less often, for the tellers had grown weary of speaking into silence.
A second question lingered at the fire. What remains when the skilled depart, and only those who nod remain? The land itself began to answer.
Weeds claimed the corners of fields once cleared each spring.
The storehouse stood half full when the snow came.
Children born into the settlement learned to keep their eyes on the ground rather than on the horizon, for there was less to see and less to do.
The tools left at the edge of the workshop gathered rust and dust, and no one spoke of sharpening them again.
If the pattern holds, the hearth will grow cold while the fields lie open.
The elders will sit with their knowledge unspoken.
The young will inherit ground that no longer remembers steady hands.
The circle of labor will thin until the settlement itself grows quiet, and the kinship that once bound household to household will loosen like rope left too long in the rain.
The land will remain, yet it will no longer know the people who once kept it.
If the words of the elders stirred recognition in your heart, then rise each dawn to walk the boundary stones with the kin, and gather the child to the hearth, so the flame does not sink while the wind still blows.
Bind the rope of shared labor once more across the paths that wind between the stones, and add your hands to the watch so the ember stays alive through the night.
Stand in the circle with the elders, and teach the young to carry the load before the storehouse stands half empty, and the fields lie open to the weeds.
By keeping the fire that threads the generations, you sustain the watch that keeps the questions of the elders answered before the cold deepens and the circle loosens like rope left too long in the rain.